Hello everyone, this is Elias Martin of CollectingJapanesePrints.com. Welcome to Woodblock Wednesday, where on Wednesdays we get together and discuss Japanese prints, paintings, history, and culture. It's been some time since I've been with all of you. In fact, it's been over a year, and I took a little break, maybe not so little, but a break to sort of recalibrate, do some personal work, do work on my website, collectingjapaneseprints.com, and I've been active, very active, producing basically exhibitions that are on my website and having really wonderful prints and paintings available for sale. But in the time that I've taken off, I've been thinking about Woodblock Wednesday. I needed a little break because the algorithms on Facebook were a little discouraging. I would do a lot of work and it wouldn't get out to as many people as I'd like. And then I started uploading them on YouTube, and I had to really kind of learn the process of that. And so now I've abandoned the Facebook Live format of the video, and now I'm just video them here and then uploading them onto YouTube directly. I will also post them on Facebook, so if you're seeing me on Facebook, welcome, and if you're seeing me on YouTube, welcome as well. I will be posting all of the videos from here on out directly onto YouTube and sharing them on Facebook and anywhere else appropriate. But if you're not a follower of the channel on YouTube, let me encourage you to go there. Collecting Japanese Prints is the handle, and you'll be able to access this video as well as all of my previous videos that number over 100 plus, and all our future videos that are forthcoming. Now, in terms of our future videos, I have a lot of ideas that we'll be doing. In fact, we get a lot of great artwork here at the gallery, and so I want to obviously share that with you, all of you, but I'm also very interested in discussing topics that are not often discussed that I feel should be discussed. So if there's a particular topic that you're interested in exploring here on Woodblock Wednesday, please leave a comment below and I'll be happy to address it and in fact do a video on it if I can. Now, before we start with today's topic, I want to thank all of you that reached out to me and encouraged me to continue with Woodblock Wednesday. It was always my intention to do that, but it was very nice to hear from all of you, encouraging me to, please, we're waiting on the next Woodblock Wednesday. When are you going to start the series again? Well, I want to thank all of you. So the series has begun and in earnest, and I'll be posting a video every week from here on out on our topics of Japanese prints and paintings. And so something to look forward to. So thanks again to all of you. Now, for today's topic, one of my favorite topics to explore is the intersection between Sosaku Hanga and Shin Hanga. Of course, in the past, I've made videos sort of exploring what each genre means and showing how the artwork from each genre can look quite different. And then, of course, each genre has a very different aim, where Sosaku Hanga artists carved and printed their own prints, and where Shin Hanga artists worked with a publisher in a collaborative process. But today's Woodblock Wednesday explores one artist who worked in both genres, who was very accomplished at woodblock carving, and that particular aspect of his work is something I really want to focus on, because Sosaku Hanga artists often were criticized for not being skilled craftsmen in terms of their carving abilities. And with his work, I don't think that could be said. And in fact, I think that's an unfair criticism, because all of the Sosaku Hanga artists, in my opinion, were quite skilled at carving, because they were very effective in producing work that demonstrated their aims. Perhaps they weren't as skilled as some of the Shin Hanga artists, but that wasn't really really their concern. That wasn't their real aim. It was more about expression rather than replication of the objective reality that we were walking around and seeing a building, so we all know what that building looks like, and it should look just like that building. Well, the Sosaku manga artists were more interested in how one feels about that particular building when one would see that building. Just giving you an example. But this artist did both, was able to capture realism in the shinhanga sort of standard way of doing that, but also producing very expressive woodblock prints in the Sosaku manga genre. So without further ado, let's look at the table, see what I have. All right, so this is the artwork we'll be discussing today. And I want to point out that when we're discussing the artwork, I'm going to film in a horizontal format. I've gotten some feedback that from our viewers that indicated that they wanted to see the artwork done in this format. It's easier to view online on a computer, although some of you watch looking at on your phone. So we'll see how this format works. Let me know if you prefer it horizontally or vertically, but we'll try today horizontally. So the artist we'll be discussing today is Hirakawa Seizo, and his dates are 1897, and he passed away. He was born in 1897, he passed away in 1964. So he was very active during the most important part of 20th century printmaking. And basically, Hirakawa was trained as a woodblock engraver and woodblock carver. Kind of like Yamamoto Kanai, not kind of, exactly like Yamamoto Kanai. And one can see his talent in carving by the diversity of artwork he produced. And so the first work we'll discuss is not actually a print by him, it's by Hasui. And this is a print that depicts cormorant fishing. And this was done, I think, in 1954. The print was designed the year before Hasui's passing, was produced during his lifetime, but then it was reissued in 1970s by the Mainichi company. And it was the company that was they were involved with producing a newspaper there, and they were also an auction house. And so this company, commissioned a printing of this work along with Hasui's last known design. And I don't have that one today to show you, but I wanted to point out that for this this commission by the Mainichi company, we have some cartouches on the right side, which is not present on the earlier printing. And there's also another cartouche with a limited edition seal and a hand-numbered application of the number of this particular print within the edition of 350. And so I just wanted to point that out. I do have the other Hasui print. This is Snow Scene. It's a very famous print. I'll feature that in a future Woodblock Wednesday. But for today's conversation, I just wanted to show it because our artist, Hirakawa, actually carved the block for this design. And I want to zoom in so you could see the detail. Now, in this case, Hirakawa did not print the work. That was basically up to Watanabe's skilled artisan printers that produced the printing. But it was Hirakawa that carved the blocks for this design. And he did a very good job. So concerning this work, it's good to, just have a really good look. It's a fantastic night scene with a wonderful use of lights. But as I said, discussing this print also in terms of Hirakawa's work is important, but also as a Hasui print onto its own, this is a design that you don't see all that often. They didn't produce that many of the lifetime edition, and then this 350 edition is quite rare. You don't see it, and I think it was distributed in such a way that it went to people who weren't exactly print collectors, and a lot of them were lost. I think you just don't see this one come up on the market, as well as the snow scene. So this work is a very rare work, and also quite valuable in its own rights. But I just wanted to show it because it really shows Hirakawa's carving ability. Now I want to focus on his work. Now, this is a design that I've shown in different Woodblock Wednesdays, just about Sosaku Hanga in general. But I want to feature it in today's discussion because this is one of his most famous, well-known designs. It's very rare. I've only seen 2 copies available for sale in 22 years of doing this. So it's quite rare. And I was fortunate to purchase this print for my collection about 15 years ago. So, and I haven't seen one since. And this is a rare work of a woman. It's a bijinga. But the funny thing is the term bijinga is kind of a misnomer because this design is not intended to be beautiful. The features of the woman are slightly off. They're sort of, their eyes are put together kind of closely. The nose is slightly larger, and the design is actually called Flur de Mal, or it's named after a poem by Baudelaire, and so Flower of Evil. And so this design actually depicts a sex worker, and she's getting ready for the evening, and she's not shown in a very beautiful way, but more of a provocative, kind of almost dark, and there's a certain amount of presence in this print that is very striking. I love this print because it's atypical. I've seen a million Contundos and Shinsuis and other artists that produced bijinga. And in this case, this is a very rare glimpse at a woman, a sex worker who, other artists have, captured courtesans in their bijinga, in particular in ukiyo-e. However, they were never depicted in such stark depictions. This one, is potent, it's powerful, dark, but the expression of the artist is present, and that's why I really love it. And so I'm going to zoom in so you can see the printing. The printing, of course, was done by Hirakawa, as well as the carving. In the Sosaku Hanga tradition, the artist does everything. So there you are. Now the next print, I should point out the date of this print, if I didn't mention it, it's about 1930, 1929, 1930. This work is a floral. It's from the 20s, and it's just a really wonderful design that shows this really expressive printing. I want to zoom in so you could see. The background also is very expressive. It reminds me of an onchi print. There was a kind of a wet-like surface to the background. It almost looks like it's still wet with pigment. And there's mica, silver mica in the background. I don't know if you could see that. Now the next work we have here it's kind of an interesting piece. I'm going to zoom up so you could see. Sorry, I got to get used to this horizontal format. Now, the next work is, at first glance, you would think it depicts a ghost or yokai because of the long neck of the woman. There's something very strange about it, but it's actually, the depiction is of a freak show that they would have in smaller Japanese villages where people would come out, and people with various weird talents, or, in this case, a woman with a very unusually long neck, which obviously is exaggerated, is playing the shimasen. And so, she's an entertainer, but it's a very strange view. And we have here the crowd dressed here. There's a man in a fedora hat. We have a profile of another onlooker. And so, you know, this is kind of a atypical subject. I can't think of that many prints produced in the 20th century that featured this subject. So it's pretty cool. It's very expressive. Again, very expressive. The carving here is very expressive, almost German expressionist in style. And so the subject, just like the Fleur de Mal right here, is not typical, and again is meant to entertain the viewer, but also as an artist, he was interested in showing things that were slightly off the beaten path with a very expressive hand. Now I want to show a set that he produced. This is a very rare set, and I've been told that not even 10 of these sets exist. And so this is a set of prints. This is the cover. There's 8 prints in this series, or in this set. And the titles and the numbers are there. And these are all smaller size prints because they're wood engravings. And I've discussed this in my previous videos, but wood engravings are like woodblock prints, but they're carved using the end of the wood grain, which is much harder to carve into, but it allows the artist to produce finer detail. The lines are much finer, but it's much harder to carve. So I'm just going to pan through these designs and then we can discuss specific ones. You can see they're portraits. The first one was a praying mantis. It's a port scene. And these vary in sizes. A couple are the size of a large postage stamp, and then others are sort of ibon that'll give you postcard size postcard size prints, but a few of them are slightly larger than that. This is one of my favorites. It's a very expressive portrait. So let me start over so you could see. Again, this is a praying mantis. And then the background has a very lively background with a lot of light, use of light, black and white with clover, and there's like a little village in the background. This is one of the larger designs. This showcases a beautiful landscape. Stylistically, these remind me of work from the American artists that were working in the WPA movement. It has this same kind of vibe to it. And these were done in the 20s. There's another portrait. I think he was a skilled portrait artist. The portraits are, in fact, some of my favorite pieces. And when I consider his body of work, the portraits are in the top of his designs. Although I just love this landscape. His use of light is just really, really skillful here. So moving back to this is like a naval scene. It's a port, the boat, the gentleman's sort of walking towards the boat. And again, another really neat landscape. So for wood engravings, Yamamoto Kanae was also an artist that did wood engravings. He was trained as a wood engraver, as was Hirakawa. And you could see how skilled Hirakawa is at carving the wood blocks. I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see the detail. And again, my favorite, this portrait. It's not very large. It's like 3 inches by 2 inches. It's so expressive for something so small. I'm gonna pan out. All right, we're gonna move back. You can see in Hirakawa's work, Hirakawa as an artist was interested in producing designs that really satisfied him, and he's one of those artists that he was a professional artist, made prints for a living, but did not sell his artwork commercially. It wasn't that commercially successful. He made handfuls of each design. Impressions of this print, for example, I know of 3 impressions known. One happens to be at the British Museum, so if you want to have a careful look at it, you can go to the British Museum's website and have a look. They have a really great scan of it. But generally speaking, his designs are listed in the Sosaku Hanga references, particularly the 5-volume Chiba Museum exhibition set of books. Many of his prints, particularly the wood engravings and this Fleur de Meaux, is illustrated. But as a collector, you don't see these come up for sale that often. So if you're interested in Hirakawa, obviously feel free to reach out to me. I do source these, but you should keep an eye out for artists that are unknown because to the West, because quite honestly, Hirakawa is a very famous artist within the Sosaku Hanga genre and in Japan. It's just his work has not been seen in the United States much, and so I think 9 people out of 10 would never even heard of him. Everyone can identify a Hasui, a Hiroshu Shida, or even for Sosaku Hanga, Sekino, Onchi, Saito. But Hirakawa is one of those artists that, people are like, who's that? What did he do? But then when you connect it to his work in the Shinhanga world, then you go, oh yeah, that wood engraver, the wood carver, but he was so much more than that. So I'll zoom in one last time for you guys to look at the artwork. And I will say that's actually one of my objectives for Woodblock Wednesday. I love introducing new artists to people, and it's kind of ironic that I need to introduce Hirakawa to people because he's so well known within the collecting world of Sosaku Hanga, but those people are just a few aficionados around the world. I could probably count them on 2 hands, which is not great. I really want to get the word out on these great artists, particularly in the US. So this is my objective for Woodblock Wednesday. I'd love to hear which design you think is your favorite. Feel free to leave that in the comments below. Well, I hope you enjoyed that selection of prints by Hirakawa. They're some of my favorite Sosaku Hanga prints, and I hope that some of those were compelling to you as well. And so I just want to finish up by mentioning that on collectingjapaneseprints.com, I feature an array of Sosaku Hanga as well as Shin Hanga and ukiyo-e and Western artists working in Japan. I basically specialize in all Japanese prints, so please visit my website and have a look. I also have a bookstore, and I encourage all of you to have a look. I always tell collectors, before you buy prints, buy books. You want to familiarize yourself with what you're interested in. You might, I think books, generally speaking, sharpen your eye and allow you to understand the body of work of any particular artist. We're fortunate because if we're interested in Shin Hanga or Sosaku Hanga, we have at our disposal prints that are books that show the entire body of prints. So you could flip through a book and go, these are the 10 that I like the most. Whereas if you're collecting contemporary art, you don't know what the artist is going to make 2 years from now or 5 years from now. You might buy something this year, but like something else more in 2 years from now. So collecting artists from the early part of the 20th century to the mid 20th century is great because you're not held hostage as to which will be the next piece you buy. You know which designs you like, and you go out and look for them. And that's kind of the fun of it, hunting for the pieces you love the most. And of course, if there are designs that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to assist you with that. So I want to thank all of you for joining me on our first Woodblock Wednesday of over a year. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today on the prints of Hirakawa, and look out for future Woodblock Wednesdays shortly. Until then, see you soon. Bye-bye.